We're all very professional, aren't we? Jonathan, come and join me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this afternoon. As you all know, I resigned about 2 weeks ago, and I was somewhat surprised to discover about 10 days after resigning that I was eligible for a severance payment. As I think everyone knows, that I was part of Cabinet when we decided to end ministerial severance, and the legislation had been passed, and I assumed that it wasn't an issue at all. Anyway, I received an interesting letter which came to my home from DEPR, the Department of Minister Howland's department, for God's sake, on Tuesday, and which informed me that over a period of 2 years, based on a series of instalments by way of ministerial severance, I was entitled to a sum of €70,000 gross. I did what I normally do. I reflected on that and found that very interesting and wondered what was an appropriate way to deal with it. And I particularly welcome that my former colleague in Cabinet, Minister Howland, has now signed a ministerial order to bring the legislation into force. And I thought it would be appropriate to mark, which I think was a very important decision made by government at a time when so many people are in financial difficulty, and to mark the fact that ministerial surveillance, ministerial whatever it is, what is it? Severance. Ministerial severance is no longer payable. So I made certain decisions, and it seems to strangely been an issue that has attracted an awful lot of attention. The first decision I made is that I'm taking the severance payment. The second decision I made is that it's all going to go to the Jack and Jill Foundation. As Jonathan and I have been friends for many years and have great admiration for the work Jack and Jill do. They do extraordinary work trying to provide supports for families with children born with serious neurological conditions and other major physical difficulties, for children who have very short lifespans and families under enormous pressure. And I thought there's a great deal more that Jack and Jill could do with the funds than I could do. I thought it was a way of marking the fact that by sheer accident I appeared to be the last minister for many years to be eligible to get the payment, and the payment is more valuable to Jack and Jill for a particular reason. If I was to retain it, I'm advised, and one of the things I did in the following receipt of the letter is to seek advices on this. Had I retained the money, it's worth about €34,000 because of the tax incentives there to try and encourage people to donate to registered charities, and because of decisions made by government in 2013. There's a reclaim that can be made by Jack and Jill, which will result in the fund being worth over the 2 years in the region of €50,000 to the benefit of the Jack and Jill Foundation. So that's the decision made. I would have been in contact. I think I surprised Jonathan yesterday and advised him I wanted to check out the mechanics of how we do this first, and I'm happy that I'll be able to be of some assistance to a group who do extraordinarily important work for many families in dreadful emotional stress.
Did you feel pressured at all?
And I know that Jonathan may want to say a couple of words.
I was sitting very quietly having supper with Marianne last night when we got this call, which stunned me. It's probably the largest philanthropic gift we've had this year for our children, and more importantly, it's the equivalent of 3,125 hours of nursing for my 300-odd children. So really I'm here to say on behalf of my families and the children, and on behalf of Marianne, how very grateful we are, enormously grateful. And I think it's extraordinarily how suitable it is, because you all know that Alan was the man who single-handedly brought in the regulator for charities, has created the regulation board, and it's what we've all been screaming for years. And I think that now it's happened, we'll never, hopefully, ever see any more distressing, upsetting, incorrect things in the very important world of charity. And I am deeply, deeply grateful for it, because 3,125 hours of nursing is amazingly important, and thank you so, so much.
Alan,
The Deputy will take questions on today's matter.
Alan, why all the drama? You could have told us this 3 days ago, or you could have let us know.
No, I couldn't have told anyone 3 days ago. There was no drama for me at all. I received a letter. I considered the contents of it. I made inquiries as to what was possible in this area. I've been getting a lot of queries from people. I've deliberately not responded to them whilst I clarified the situation, and I thought the simplest thing today was to just tell people that I'll be explaining what I'm doing on the plinth, and that's what I did.
It by your ministerial colleagues in the Taoiseach?
I wasn't pressured by decision. I haven't felt under any pressure of any nature.
And how are you since your resignation?
I'm extraordinarily well. How are you doing? The Taoiseach, I think, will now be learning of it. The Taoiseach didn't know. None of my colleagues knew of decisions I was making. The only people who knew were Jonathan and Senator O'Brien and 2 or 3 people very close to me. And I would hope that this will be seen as an appropriate approach to mark in a very positive way the end of ministerial severance, while simultaneously being of assistance to a charitable agency, Jack and Jill, that I've enormous respect for, and who do absolutely extraordinary work. They have to, by the way, raise annually in the region of €3 million, and they are extraordinarily innovative in the manner in which they raise funds. I think just on occasions they deserve to get funds without having to work as hard as they do to acquire them.
I take it from your statement, our former minister, that you're staying on as the TD.
I'm going nowhere. A lot of interesting things going to be happening over the next couple of years before the next election. I hope to make a positive contribution to them.
Can you tell us why you resigned as minister?
No, I'm not getting into any of that. Thanks.
Alan, one question. I mean, notwithstanding the great work that Jack and Jill do, why not leave the money with the taxpayer, with the Minister for Finance? Let him decide.
I've made the decision I've made. Other people can make decisions about that. Thank you very much.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Jonathan, shaking hands, please. Just the 2 of you together.
Shaking hands.
Yeah, please. Thanks. That's great. Thank you very much.
Have to be careful, Jonathan. He's on crutches at the moment.
Yeah, well, obviously I wouldn't want. That's great. And again,
In this camera.
Jonathan, Aaron,
That's it.
just here.
Mr. Shatter, this way, please. Thank you very much. It's great to come.
Barbara,
Thank you. Former minister.
don't be shy.
Creature of
Really, jump in there. That's
creature of
it.
habit.
Holding this. Somebody's phone is slipping. This way. It's lovely. That's good.
In towards me, please. Thank you.
And just down here, please.
And down again.
Thanks a million. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you.
Thankfully it didn't rain. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No problem.